In case you've been waiting till the end and forgot to back it, The Seeker's Guide to Enchanting Emporiums has just over 72 hours left. Ghostfire's newest Kickstarter campaign and the sequel to my second book is bursting with awesomely inspiring content and absolutely incredible art. It's got more than 15 new magic item shops overflowing with personality and magic items that'll friggin' flood your game with new situations and scenarios. Cause they got adventures and quest hooks too, but also mainly the shark backpack. They've hit some awesome stretch goals, including this one. Gonna be honest with you, I forgot I agreed to this, but I'm super excited for it. It also looks like they're doing an atmosphere pack, which means John Theodore is back from the last project. And this. Can we please reach this? I was late and I hyped it up. There's just so much on this Kickstarter and in the book, but I can hear some of you yelling at me to start the video. The Kickstarter link is just below. Now let's go. I was taking a stroll through my menagerie of monsters and found out that one of them managed to escape. I blame the Boggle, he's a problem. As it turns out, in a matter of minutes, a rogue Intellect Devourer killed my bodyguard and all of my family, and now it knows everything about me. Boggle, get the blowtorch. If you played the first 45 minutes of this decade's best RPG, and you're a curious little bugger, you've met some Intellect Devourers. These squishy brain meat puppets patrol the ships and caverns of Mind Flayer territories, hiding behind brutish thralls until they get the chance to do what horror movies need to take bold notes of. They're all used as little cannon fodder doggies roaming the ground to get squashed, with the exception of us, who I'll get into later.
Our freedom is ours, friend.
Now this type of nature does make sense for undeveloped Mind Flayer settlements, or ones that fall from the sky. Namely because they're one of the best hunting dogs in the world, with the ability to detect sentience within 300 feet of themselves. It's not a magical detection, so there isn't a single ability outside the 8th level spell Mind Blank that you can use to hide, so in most cases, they will find you. This joke in Honor Among Thieves is great because not only did the brain dogs detect their group, but decided they were so useless and not worth hunting that they just sauntered by them 3 feet away. Or they didn't detect them because they all have an intelligence of 3 or lower. So these patrols are their standard use, and it's a major oversight that they aren't accompanied by thralls to seismic toss the victims before they try to eat your brain. But I think they have infinite potential, all because of a tiny oversight in their concept. When they kill a victim, they essentially become them, and also they become invincible. This is a reusable, stackable ability. Before I get into the overwhelming nightmare of a rogue Intellect Devourer, I have to give credence to the 2004 book that nerfed them down insanely well. My man Bruce instead said if one kills a guy, it can pretend to be that guy for up to a week, and then the body rots, and also they forget everything about that guy. I hate to say it because it would ruin the video, but this feels right. Thank God 5th edition forgot, and neither Volos nor this shit heap has touched these pups. Okay, so here's the problem. And I'm gonna paraphrase this ability. If a humanoid is unconscious, an Intellect Devourer can repeatedly assault their mind every 6 seconds until they find an opening. This also doesn't wake you up if you're asleep, so Jesus Christ. If it finds an opening, you die instantaneously. The Intellect Devourer replaces your brain, soaking up all of your memories, knowledge, loved ones, languages, and arcane power. As long as it has a body, it cannot be targeted by anything but protection from evil, can cast spells that it has learned, and benefits from any ability that the claimed body had in life. So to break it down, if you fall asleep within 300 feet of one of these little bastards and they sneak up to you, you die. And only the spells Regenerate, Reincarnate, or Resurrection can bring you back. Also Wish. But that's a spell that can do anything and a movie that didn't do anything. But I want to properly thank you 5th edition for not having them forget what they learn once they exit a body. Although their smarts stay the same, they could theoretically amass a wealth of knowledge very quickly under the right circumstances. Say one of them finds their way into an old folks' home. It can walk out the next day, leaving behind a pile of bodies and gaining potentially hundreds of years worth of knowledge, and possibly contracting Alzheimer's during the process. Or, pretty easily, it could capture a level 20 barbarian, have him raid a college and incapacitate all the caster students, and then just down the line pop in and out of highly esteemed brains until he can walk away with multiple doctorates and dozens of new spells. All he needs is a body and the components to cast it. Aside from all that exponential growth, which is kind of an extrapolation, if a rogue and an intellect devourer teamed up, you could sneak into the king's bedchambers and rule a kingdom overnight, or have a big, fantastic citywide festival where everyone eventually goes underground to unwittingly meet their new Mind Flayer masters. But I'm such a huge fan of us from Baldur's Gate.
Us. We are us.
This aberrant aberration is the first example I've seen of an independent canine cranium, and Us was my best friend during my main playthrough. Little bastard can really throw a brain punch. Since this opens up the idea that such dangerous creatures can break free of Mind Flayer subservience means that you can have them as independent villains. Or I can do that. I will do that. Alternatively, how funny would it be if one possessed a party member and instantly lost their own identity? Like, nobody knows, you go for 6 sessions, and then finally your player character tragically dies. Then a profoundly confused intellect devourer sheepishly walks out of the dead body's head, and then you play as an intellect devourer. I really want that. But since there's so little information on Us and how they came about, I have the tiniest of theories. I think his name is Mirnath, the dead guy whose brain is our friend, was also affected by that fancy artifact. Like, maybe the artifact thought that he would survive, but instead just his brain did? Or maybe Mirnath's personality is somewhat starting to bleed through and that's what makes him an aberrant. Is Us like a little brain ghost? Or just a cute weirdo? I have no idea. I've been focusing on the body thief ability a lot, but in addition to that and detect sentience, they have a third ability. You're never gonna guess what it's called. It's a simple attack with a simple saving throw, but if your intelligence is 18 or lower, the Intellect Devourer siphons all of your brain in an instant, within 3 seconds turning your character into a coma-riddled vegetable, until... well, this is kind of fucked too, until one of your friends can find a way to fix that. The only way I know is greater restoration. These little crangs don't even read like D&D monsters, they're like final boss anomalies. They're a lot stronger than Mind Flayers in a roundabout way. One final thing I found, and I don't quite understand how they fit in, are the Ustilagore. To create an Intellect Devourer, Mind Flayers just do a little ritual that makes it sprout legs and tentacles. But these are somehow Intellect Devourer larvae. They have a little fungus that protects them before they get their little chitinous shells during the stage. And all the wiki really says is that Mind Flayers and other pups just eat them. Like they're tasty little stupid guys with fungus powers and faint psychic abilities. That's kind of fun. I highly suggest that you use these because they make good spies, overlords, deceitful allies, scouts, pets, informants, surprise twists, and of course ways to instantly kill your players. And that's my favorite thing to do as a good dungeon master. My cat's made recording this video very hard. Goodbye.
I'll save you, don't jump. It's not worth it. You have a life to live.